this off. Stand by, stand by, stand by. If you hear exterior noise, that's because I have the AC on. So just stand by, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to put a microphone on. Let's put a microphone on real quickly. Quickly. You probably said, why are you in your car? Because it's 90 degrees outside, and I'm not standing in the heat. Plus, you know, the rule is never let them see you sweat. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. Stand by. Let me get the headphones. I want to make sure you guys can hear me loud and clear. I got the air on. I turned the air off. I'm going to sweat. I'm going to give you guys I just tweeted it out, so I'll give you guys a couple of minutes to get in here. While I put my ears on. Okay. Not that I'm bringing you up, but stand by. Let me go ahead and put that in there. Yeah. My chest was showing. I'm so sorry, guys. Hold on. I that wasn't intentional. Now, that wasn't intentional. This is not one of those videos. Those videos happen after 12. More oil. More oil. All right, ladies, I got to turn the air on. So hopefully, put a 1 in the chat. That was funny. I just saw that. Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear the sound of my voice. Put a 1 in the chat. Please work with me because the air is necessary. Wait a minute. I wasn't doing that. Listen, especially not having my oil. You said 2. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I just left within the last 20 minutes the hearing involving rapper Young Thug in the case against the district attorney's office in Fulton County, where they tried to seize all his assets. Well, they seized it when they raided his home and took his property, but they were trying to forfeiture his assets. And you would not believe how the state lost this case. It wasn't because of a bad argument. Well, it was kind of a bad argument by the state, but it was more about one day, them missing a day to respond to a filing by the defense. And the defense, led by Brian Steele, gave an exceptional argument, and it was watching this play out. You know, I tell you guys, Brian Steele, while he's a great attorney, he is underestimated in his ability to get these wins. For some people, I'm telling you, watching him this morning, and the videos live on Atlanta News First, because they were the pool camera, but I was able to score an exclusive interview with Brian Steele, Keith Adams, and Young Thug's dad. Thug was not present today in the courtroom. I didn't think he needed to be there because this is just a matter of arguing why the state did not deserve to keep Young Thug's assets. Mr. Keith Adams gave me great sound as it related to how the state-sponsored forfeiture should have never happened. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, let's unpack what we've heard today. Young Thug obviously is on a probation for the case that he pled to. He didn't have to be here. You had Brian Steele, Keith Adams. He was assisted by another attorney, and you also had one of the juror, and she's gonna be mad at me, but she was the juror expert for his case that was in there. Y'all put a type of name in the chat. You know who she is, but she was the juror expert in the YSL case. I'll just call her Auntie. You know who she is. She's in the YSL case. But and I would say something. I have to say this about Judge Whitaker. She and I bumped heads, or I bumped my head against her head, but she didn't bump her head. Well, she bumped her head against mine. But she's a very fair judge, very smart, and she's been very fair throughout this case for Young Thug. And I don't want to take nothing away from her. I have my issues, but my issues with her was specifically pertaining to me, not with anything pertaining to the case. And I think she did an exceptional job in bringing this case to a closure, not just the forfeiture hearing, but also the trial itself, because it ran off the tracks. And it took someone like Judge Whitaker to put it back on the tracks and keep it going straight ahead and come to a conclusion. And she did just that. She listened today to Brian Steele. While the camera was focusing on Brian Steele for the most part, the judge was agreeing with most of his argument. You can see it. She was agreeing with most of his argument. And then when the prosecution had opportunity to refute what he said, they really had nothing. They said, we just stand by what we said. No, that was a bloodbath. When Brian Steele was issuing his bloodbath against the prosecution, this was the opportunity for the prosecution to pull out all their stops, call District Attorney Fonnie Willis, call the whole team in, call Will Wooten, call the whole team in, because it was a bloodbath in the courtroom today. It was a bloodbath. It was a bloodbath witnessing the state not being able to respond to how did you miss it by a day. It was like oops. This is a classic case of fumbling the bag. The state had the bag. They had Young Thug's cars, cash, jewelry. And when we talk about jewelry, we're going to talk about that Richie Mille watch too. Because that watch is the only thing that Young Thug won't get back. And he won't get it back because it was taken legally. He won't get back because it was stolen from him. A $500,000 watch was stolen from him. So, again, we talk about playing fair in the court. Why is there no investigation on the $500,000 watch? Where's the $500,000 watch at? It's a watch that went missing and never been returned, nor has any law enforcement say, well, we need to investigate this, because you know what they're saying. You can't investigate. Police should be investigating themselves. In this case, Ms. Viverito hasn't clearly explained to the American people, the county Fulton residents, where is Young Thug's Richard Mille watch at? What we learned today was that he will get everything back that they seized, with the exception of the watch and the firearms. He will not get the firearms back, and of course he can't get the firearms back, because the minute they say, here's your guns back, you violate your probation. You know, they're not playing that game. And Mr. Attorney Steele said that they never requested the return of his firearms. He said that in court today. He said that, I don't know if that was all right, but they never requested that. I do have a copy of all the items that he will be receiving back. That should happen in short order, because at this point, unless they file their appeal today, and let's see if the district attorney office will be petty and file an appeal to the judge's ruling. That will be the only reason why he doesn't get it back today. If they file, because he's coming down, his team is coming down very soon. I'm outside the courthouse right now waiting for him to come out so I can get pictures of all the jewelry that they're about to return back to him. Hopefully, they don't file an appeal so this guy can get his stuff back. They lost. He has the ability to be able to have his property back, especially in light of the fact that it had nothing to do with this case. This was a case not involving a watch, cars, none of that had anything to do with the allegations or what he pled guilty to. So He gets everything back. And it could have been a 50-50. And you don't, and this is an amateur move, you don't miss a date. You don't miss a date of filing. You don't miss a date. That's like, wow, how did you miss a date? You guys said, that's like having a lottery ticket. The winning ticket is like having a winning lottery ticket in your pocket, and then you wash the pants pockets that you're wearing. The ticket's gone. No proof that you ever had it. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, I need for you guys to hit the like button, hit the follow button right now. Hit the follow button because I have an interview that we'll be posting today of Brian Steele, Keith Adams, and I even interviewed Young Thug's father, Big Jeff, because this was a big win for his son. And Young Thug was informed that he won. And I also asked a question to Keith about what was Young Thug's feeling once he realized he won. You guys got to tune in. This interview is going to be on Hip Hop Inquirer, and I'll have a copy on this platform as well. So turn your notifications on. Make sure you are looking out for the interview. It's going down. I appreciate that those are here. I have to get up out of here. Get closer to. I'm waiting for the armor truck to show up. I'm waiting for where the car's at. I don't know where the car's at. Where did he take his cars at? I want to get a picture of the cars. Maybe I call. Wait, let's see. Maybe I get a picture of the cars another way. But let me see what you guys are talking about. Well, they never asked for the guns. Someone said, can the guns be released and sold by the attorney? Well, technically, well, I don't know. Can the guns be released? They're probably going to destroy the weapons. I think at this point, just destroy the weapons. Don't even risk the chance of having the weapons. Just destroy them. So, yeah, well, I think the question that Vicky asked, he asked good questions. So, was the watch stolen? Well, if he doesn't have it, and it was in his house, and he doesn't have it back, and it's not on the voucher sheet, I would guess that it was stolen. We can guess that the watch was stolen. And that should have been an investigation immediately. That should not have been a question. Because if that piece of evidence went missing in a raid, then what else is being taken in a raid? What else is being taken in a raid? So that's a good question. Let me see. Hello. Okay, so Snitch Hunt asks, what about the stolen Richard? Everybody, the snitch. Everyone wants to know where that watch is at. Everyone, listen. I keep my watch. I keep my watch over here. I'm keeping my watch with me. I don't have the Richard Mille. Let's see here. Thank you for telling me about my button. I buttoned it. Thank you, guys. Thank you. You know, Snitch Hunt. Listen. That is a good suggestion. His jury should have all been insured. There should be a police report filed, and so it might work. You know something? That is a good. You know something? Snitch Hunt. That makes a lot of sense. The watch is stolen. So today, since the case of the forfeiture was dismissed, this is probably the time for when he receives his assets back and the watch is not amongst those assets, that's when he needs to file an insurance claim on the watch. It's $500,000. He's insured. If the watch shows up in America and there's an insurance claim and they pay it out and it shows up I think the watch is out the country right now. How many of you think that watch left the country? How many of you think that someone went on vacation and that watch done went out the country and it's never coming back? I don't think that watch is in America at this point. It's a $500,000 watch. Was it worth $500,000? That's what is alleged. Is it worth $500,000? I think the watch left the country. I think that watch that got melted down, is probably busted down. The diamonds are put in another watch, and is I don't know. What do you guys think? You think the watch is still in America? I don't know. I don't know if the watch is still in America. And whoever has the watch, they will have to be a fool to still have it in their possession after America knows that watch went missing. I don't know, guys. Right, Vicky. Vicky, you are right. Well, do you think the prosecutors thought that they would lose this case today? Someone said fencing techniques. Listen. You don't have to be a fencing expert, but fencing and watch, one of the key things is to get it out of the country. Get it about the country. That watch got shipped, then it got flown out. No, it got flew out. That watch just flew out somewhere. I don't believe that watch is in it. You're an idiot if you got the watch still in America. You're an idiot if you got the watch still in America. If you still walking around with a recognizable $500,000 watch in America in 2025, you're a whole fool. Right. They didn't expect to release it. The asset forfeiture process is unfair. It's totally unfair. And it can be more unfair when it's used to weaponize wealth. We know this to be the case in Sean Diddy Combs' case because they wanted to forfeit his assets had he been found guilty of the top counts. And those numbers are pretty high. We're talking hundreds of millions of dollars. We're talking hundreds of million dollars was on the line in the Sean Diddy Combs case had they been successful in getting this guy, getting Puff found guilty of the top counts. So the forfeiture laws is a powerful tool to fill the coffers of some of these government agencies, law enforcement agencies, because they like to seize assets. If you're doing criminality and you're using the wealth you gain from criminality, then you don't deserve to have the wealth. I agree. Then it's par for the course. However, your case must be strong enough to prove that the wealth that you amass through criminal means is actually related to the wealth that you amassed. So, in this case with Doug, there was nothing that I saw in the case that suggested that his wealth was a result of him being in YSL. His wealth was a result of him being a successful artist. That's what his wealth was. He was a very successful artist, is a very successful artist, and anything to suggest that the watch he wore, the watches he had, the money he achieved was as a result of some kind of criminal gang or etc. It was ridiculous because we learned from the trial that no one other than Young Thug had wealth. No one had wealth other than Young Thug, who was a working artist, recording artist. Let's not make light of that. The other people were selling nickel bags. They were selling light weed, minor stuff. None of them had real money. None of them, because they were doing their own thing. We know that to be true by watching the case. We know that to be true by the testimony. We know that to be true by the jurors' verdict in both Yacht Gotti and Mr. Shannon Jackson Stillwell. Shout out to Shannon. and his great future, his great future ahead of him. Shout out to both of them. Hustling, right? Yeah, that was a big hustle. They were hustling. They were hustling in the street. She said hustling, not hustling, hustling. Vicky says, and it costs more to get your money and assets back by fighting it legally